Hello guys. Welcome to Diablo the Primordial. This video is the continuation video after Rimuru analysis. So if you have not watched it, then please watch it. The link is in the description. And please check out my second channel Top Anime Sensei for the light novel of Tensei. So without any further delay, let's start. But before we start, please like, subscribe and press the bell icon so you don't miss the updates. In that case, I suddenly hit on a good idea. And then, I carried out the idea as ordered by my mischievous heart. Rimuru, what are you doing? Haha, this is interesting. Velgrind confusedly raised her voice. Rudra felt it was interesting. I didn't really do anything great. I just threw the sword to Velgrind. I fused the memory orb in my left hand with the sword I held in right hand, though. I embedded the memory orb into the base of the hilt of the god-class sword like a conspicuous shining jewel. Since I fused it so it became one with the sword, the orb part would be as strong as the sword. If there was really a reincarnated person who shared his soul, that person should be able to draw out Rudra's abilities by holding the sword. I made it that way so you could depend on it. In order to enable him to have conversation with the owner, I had also asked Ciel Sensei to remake and changed Rudra into a pseudo-manas. Naturally, the information of the memory orb had been analyzed. I turned it into intelligent sword. Because I fused Rudra's will and the sword, from now on only someone with the same soul wavelengths as him can use the sword. In other words, the person who has the qualification to wield the sword will be the proof that the person is Rudra's reincarnation. Interesting, right? Don't do things as you please. I thought that she would get angry like that, but Velgrind only took the sword into her embrace and stared at me. Rudra was laughing jovially. Ha 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 ha. Is that so? There's a possibility that I got reincarnated? I see, that would explain why I got a free will. It's certainly interesting. So he laughed happily. Listening to Rudra's words, Velgrind gave a nod as if to agree with him. Velda was annoyed, but he glared at with an expression as if he was satisfied with something. He thought about the reason why his own plan failed and admitted that my, or rather, Ciel's, deduction was right, I guess. While Velda's attention was on the intelligent sword, I unsheathed my katana and took a stance. With this, I could fight seriously. However, given that the will of the super excellent me remained a whole, I guess the person who might be my reincarnation now would surely be a cowardly fellow. I'm looking forward to our meeting. Foo, that might be so. The last thing left from Rudra at the end was only his charisma, not even his prided luck remained. But conversely, that person might only inherit that luck. I want to meet that person if that person exists. Your reincarnation, a cowardly and lucky person. Velgrind nonchalantly said. A cowardly and lucky person. There was someone who matched that description, but it couldn't be, right? Although the person in question had no charisma, that person was compensated with incredible luck though. I'm sure that the ability that person had is called the Chosen One. It's a coincidence. I'm sure it's a coincidence. I ignored Rudra and Velgrind's conversation and abandoned any further thoughts. Fate would decide their encounter, and if that person was really Rudra's reincarnation, they would eventually come across even if I didn't say anything. Besides, if my thoughts were right, that person probably wouldn't be able to run from Velgrind. Well, it didn't matter to me. I guess I did do some unnecessary things, but the rest was their problem. I irresponsibly decided that Rudra and the others' matter would have nothing to do with me. Like that, it seemed I had succeeded in buying time. Velda was too wary of me and only attempted minor attacks. I easily parried them and waited until the preparation was completed. Then, finally, we did it, Rimuru. I and Gaia completely locked up the heaven to another space. So I heard Ramirez's shout. Alright, good job. With this, we blocked your escape. This time for sure, I showed a triumphant smile towards Velda. It would be meaningless if we cornered him this far just for him to run away. Therefore, I brought Ramirez and Velgaia to heaven and asked them to lock this place completely. It was impossible for Ramirez because she had her own labyrinth, but it was demonstrated that Gaia could create a pseudo-labyrinth. Under Ramirez's guidance, Gaia's labyrinth completely covered up this heaven. You bastard, so that was your aim. I could see the color of emotions for the first time in Velda's expressions. That agitation was exactly what I intended. Furthermore, Ramirez and Gaia succeeded in rescuing Milam, who got caught. QE. Gaia, when did you become strong like this? Milam was safely rescued and she seemed to be surprised with Gaia's growth. Mission completed on this side, Rimuru. Go on and send that guy flying. Ramirez proudly gave the go sign towards me. In addition to her, to be honest, I wanted to do it myself, but unfortunately, I can't win. Rimuru, please avenge me. Milam said so. Leave it to me. I'll carve it properly into your body as the reward of laying your hands on my precious friends. I raised one hand to answer Milam and declared so towards Velda. Well then, since all of the trouble was sorted out, let's end this quickly. When I thought so, a terrific explosion was heard and a corner of the heaven was blown away. I was surprised and turned my focus to that direction. Just as I thought, I saw Veldora-san, who became pitch black over there. What the heck are you doing? When I thought that, power, I ran out of power at the last moment. Veldora-san insisted on something which was no more than an excuse. I guess he was fine. Although I didn't really feel the need to be worried about him, I couldn't help it considering his usual antics. He looked awful, but there seemed to be no other problems. That's right. After all, Veldora-san was the only one who suffered any damage from that big explosion. Everyone else seemed to be unharmed. What a relief. Oh well, if it's Veldora-san, I felt a mysterious reassurance that he would turn out okay even if he was seriously injured. Since his real body was inside me, it wasn't an exaggeration. What are you doing? Didn't you boast that you would be fine? Grr, that's my line. Why did the corridor suddenly closed even though I tried to suppress the explosion with force? When I asked him mixed with a sigh, Veldora angrily asked back at me. Corridor, did he mean the soul corridor? Foo-foo. It's because Veldora had been the one most wasteful with Master's magic essences. I wanted to teach him a lesson, so I calculated that it will go out of control, but that it would only damage him and closed the soul corridor at the perfect moment. You did what? Rather, Ciel-san appeared to be angry for some reason. Although she had said that Veldora could use it as much as he liked in the previous conversation, what's with this sudden change of attitude here? In the first place, I've been suppressing the usage so that the energy won't be used inefficiently. As for this, Veldora is. When I saw you absorbing the energy, I thought I wanted to copy it too. Even though it was just a bit more and I would have completed it and powered up myself too. No, I think that's impossible. I guess this is what people would call flabbergasted. I never said to him not to copy someone else, but I wished in such a tense situation we had here, he wouldn't try something that he couldn't do. First of all, how can Veldora power up himself if he didn't have the ability to convert energy? It was a simple task, all he had to do was to suppress and offset it normally. It's amazing that he could deliberately mess up. Veldora-san probably tried to blend it with a large amount of energy he tried to draw out from me while suppressing it with his own full power. Did he assume that by doing that he could forcibly take in the altered energy? Not just that, he tried to pour the energy through the soul corridor, when he couldn't get used to it smoothly. Rather than a power-up, he probably planned a recycling. I see. Certainly, Ciel-san could deal with it easily, but it would be risky if sending weird things became a habit. She's right by refusing, as she seemed to be conveniently used as someone who took care of things when he was in trouble. Since he couldn't deal with it himself, he pushed it to Ciel-san and took the energy as he pleased. Even Ciel-san would flip out over that. Though she meant to rake him over the coals, she probably wanted to punish Veldora. As expected, not even Veldora could deal with it since Ciel-san had done it when he was unprepared for something like that. Oh well, Ciel-san probably determined the moment when he couldn't handle it though. I was surprised that such foolish exchanges were happening without my knowledge. No matter how I look at it, isn't that your own fault? Grr, it's not fair that only Rimuru can use such a convenient ability. Don't go grr at me, are you a kid? Oh, well, whatever, his foolishness was quite painful for everyone to see. Veldora, you. See? Even Velgrind, who put the sword over her shoulder, is now glaring this way with half-opened eyes, you know. It's very scary that Velzard is smiling but her eyes aren't. I told that to Veldora through eye contact. Oh no. So Veldora, whose face turned miserable, seemingly wanted to say. It seemed he realized that he was getting a bit too full of himself and he looked back and forth between me and his two sisters in panic. Well, practice is the key. Even you will be able to use it if you keep doing your best, so be diligent. Therefore, help me to defeat Velda first. I decided to give Veldora a helping hand. My reason was it would be a bother if he ended up sulking, but Veldora-san, who was shivering before his two older sisters, looked pitiful if I didn't do anything. I acted like this time he just messed up a bit and everything was going as planned from the start. I guess so. It seems I have been a bit too overconfident. One has to learn humbleness or something like that, right? Alright, then I'll return inside and lend you my strength. Until the end, Veldora was still glossing over his coolness and returned back inside me as if he was running away. He owed me one for this. And that's it. Thank you so much for watching. And if you guys have not watched my earlier videos, then please watch them. The links are in the description. And please check out my other channel Top Anime Sensei for the light novel of Tensura. And don't forget to like, subscribe and press the bell icon so you don't miss the updates.